Welcome back to Leadership in Transition. I am Laurent Maillefer, the founder of Leap to Yourself Coaching. In previous episodes, we explored what happens when something feels off, how reconnecting to our values with what truly matters, and starting to notice the signals our body gives us. Today, I would like to take that one step further. Many leaders in our society are trained to think clearly, analyze quickly, and perform consistently, but not necessarily to listen to what's happening in their bodies. And yet, I believe the body often registers misalignment before the mind can explain it. It is also a great source of wisdom and signals. So today, I have the honor to be joined by Anna Sumara, the founder of Wholeness in You. Welcome, Anna. So before we start, Anna, maybe would you just say a few words, introduce yourself to our listeners so they can get to know you a little bit better?
Of course, thank you. Yes, I'm a leadership coach. I help people to build embodied presence. So in the key moments of their life, they are not being hijacked by their bodies, but actually they are able to source from its wisdom. Mm-hmm. That's in a very bottom line version what I do. I also train coaches at the Coactive Training Institute.
Maybe to start off with, what has drawn you to that field, and especially embodied intelligence?
Yeah, very great question. I think for me it came quite naturally. When I started my coaching career or coaching journey, I remember from the very beginning I could kind of understand the person through my body. My body naturally were taking a different shape as I was coaching a person, so I was kind of mirroring them and also bringing my body into this space, into this relationship, and understanding what's going on with them. And as I started the coaching journey and all the education process, I also started my yoga teaching training, meditation, mindfulness training, lots of the presence-based modalities like physical theater, everything that was really connected to the wisdom of the body, to expression, what does it mean, feeling the body connected with the whole story that the person is presenting. So that was like in terms of education, I was drawn to that naturally. But I also noticed in my early years of my life that I naturally used my body, for example, to solve some problems or to integrate learning.
Right.
And one example is when I was studying to different competitions in school, where in a very short period of time I had to learn a lot about subjects I didn't know. I was able to go and study for some periods of time, let's say the whole day, and in the evening I had to move my body. I felt I had to kind of integrate it with me. And once I did it, I always came to better results. I kind of, or insights, or suddenly the solution of some mathematic problem came to me. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that I really had to use my body, and it really helped me a lot.
Okay. And if we stay then on using the body, then how do you say in your practice, in the persons you are coaching or you are facilitating with, leaders mainly, I guess, how do you see when they are in a way disconnected from their body? So we live in a society, we are very cognitive, yes. So how do you see this shows up in terms of losing connection with our body? And in the work you do, then how does that help them be who they want to be, or change the way they want to be, and create the possibilities that they want for themselves?
Well, for me, I see how people hold themselves, how they hold their bodies. There's something very natural for me to kind of sense the energy, like what comes first. If you think about scientists or people like mathematicians, physicians, when you think of them, many of them, when they walk, the head comes first. Like literally, there's something about it, the head leads, right? And so you see that, that's one thing. But in a coaching session, many people will tell you a lot of story. And there is a certain, like, you can sense that the story, that whatever is coming from the, from the head. And so there is the same rhythm, the same voice tone, the same speed. They're not like, it doesn't come from kind of a deeper place. I don't know how to say. But if someone constantly just repeating and searching for a new insight from the repetition, that means that they are not integrated in their body. They're missing something.
So that's what you would say, this is the early signs that someone is, I don't know, just really cognitive, head only, and really forgetting that there's a whole body behind, and actually the head is part of the body, and neuroscience, a nerve system is actually all in our body, not in our brain. So would that be the signals that you tend to see?
Yes. Also, people get to be reactive. They don't even notice. They, sometimes people get so angry. I see the anger, they are red. And I ask them, what do you feel? Well, nothing. Do you feel anger? No. And so that disconnection, that's the disconnection, that's the word, right? And that disconnection shows itself in lots of words, same tone of voice, no pausing. Maybe it's very fast. Some people are fast, but others are very slow. So they are in the automatic reactive mode, but they are not aware of that.
Yeah. I hear a lot autopilot or auto mode also being on autopilot. And so in the work you do, I wonder what are the methods that people can start to reconnect? Because I also experience it in my own coaching practice. When you start to ask people to name, as you said, anger or things that are happening, and actually give name or start to feel, a lot of people have lost that ability to feel what is going on in our body. So how do you work with people to start to rebuild this, and so for the awareness, and start to feel again what happens again below our heads? How do you do it? What works?
The first thing you have to remember, if some people are really disconnected, you have to go slow. Maybe you need to help them a little bit. Be more specific. What do you feel in your chest? You start where there is a pressure or tension. That's usually people will able to kind of scan their body and notice what's happening with your breath. Do you think it's shallow, or does it go deep to your belly? Is it slow, or is it, those kind of things, you help them to put attention on something. The breath, the speed, tension, pressure, right? Then if they still you see someone is red because they're so angry but they don't feel it, ask them, what's the temperature right now in your chest, wherever there is the pressure? Is it cold, rather cool, or rather hot, right? And so you start using senses actually, right? How hot, cool, warm, maybe there's a color describing it, whatever comes to their mind, but you go slowly, this feels like this, and people start paying attention to that. And very often they will say, if you ask them, how do you feel? Good or bad, right?
Yeah, that's often the answer,
yes.
Yeah.
So I ask them, good like what? Bad like what? Which kind of shade of good? Is it good like joy, or is it happy, or is it bad like what? Is it more towards sadness or anger? And so you kind of need to educate people. So people who don't have emotion vocabulary, they also exactly those people who are more likely not to know what's going on with them emotionally. So they more run by the automatic responses. They are not aware they're already in reactive state. So simply giving people some basic vocabulary and look at the vocabulary, choose what do you think feel like what's present now for you, right? How is it like for you now? Or use a metaphor. Because metaphors works better also.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm caged. There is a cage and I cannot get out from the cage. It's like you get the sensation, right?
Yeah.
And so that helps slowly with those people. But they will, the very important question would be why? Why do we even bother to go there, right?
So why do we go there? Why do we bother to go there? What's in it for people to actually go there?
Yeah, and we go there because our nervous system is either regulated or dysregulated, right? Regulated is like when you are, the grass is green, I call it, all is fine. You actually are in this state of regulated state. You are creative. You're connected to your resources. You can connect to others also. You have broad vision, like physical vision. You see more, even physically, but also you are able to be connected to the vision. You are able to see someone else's perspective. You are able to be empathic. So that's the regulated state. Now, when you get triggered by something, you go to dysregulated state.
Yeah.
And those are the states that are well known, I think, for many people. Fight, flight, right? Modes. You either fight, you're this person that will always fight. You subconsciously feel the danger. And by the way, you feel it through your body. Your body is scanning the environment. So the body gives the signal to the brain, there is a danger. They said something that is putting me in danger. Even it's not true, but this is the perception based on our experiences in life. Yeah. So you go to fight maybe. So you get heat, you lean forward, you attack. It's kind of like, you go against someone, right? Or you go into flight. So you like making yourself small, you escape, you avoid conflict, you don't say anything. And so, right? Or there is another state, which is like if fight or flight is not possible for you, you go into freeze. You numb yourself, you don't feel. And we as humans, we kind of add to freeze also please. So it's not only freeze, but you also are being overly nice to someone who is not nice to you. So you pleasing, you want to be liked, because if you liked, you think, it's very subconscious what I'm saying now. It's not on a conscious level. Yeah. So you want to be nice. You don't say what you want, what you need. You want people to like you. And when you are in those dysregulated states, you're actually losing your vision. You're losing the ability to connect with others, which means you are not able to be empathic with them, to see their perspectives. You are not connected to your creative state. Because you are in fear, you are actually fighting for your life, even though you are not, but it feels like it. Yeah. And so you're losing your power, you're losing clarity, you're losing your presence. And so to gain it back, you actually need to go to your body, because the body will give you the signals. I mean, there are 3 levels, but body will give you the signal. Hey, if you understand your own state when you are dysregulated, and when I got this heat in my stomach, I'm being in my reactive mode. And now you learn how to switch to your creative, for example, through movement or through breath, you can switch it. Right?
So let me ask, so that's the work you do with your clients, right? I guess it all starts with awareness, connecting back to our bodies, starting to feel when maybe we get triggered by something, we either flight, freeze or we flight. So what is the awareness of starting to notice what happens? Is it how really the work starts to regain this knowledge that we have, that potentially, right, we have of our body to understand what goes on, so then we can change the way we actually react or come back to regulated states in a quicker way than we would without.
Yeah. Yes, I call it's embodied self-awareness. So because when we say awareness, people think about conceptual awareness. I know what I want, I know my goals, I know my story, but they don't know what's going on with them when they're in the story, right? So embodied is like being present to your sensations in the moment, just like almost like an observer, and not necessarily being triggered by this. And yes, so first you need to be aware, how does it feel when you are in this reactive mode, when you are dysregulated, right? And that means how what's present with sensations, what's present in your body, right? How do you hold your body? Is it heat or coolness, or are you losing your senses? Like, you have to kind of map it. And you also have to know what's present when you are regulated. So you know. So it's like the physical state. Now, emotionally, how do you feel emotionally? And what are the kind of thoughts come to your mind? The quality of your thoughts. Because those three, they will create the physical sensations, emotional field, and the quality of your thoughts. They will create a pattern. And you start recognizing your patterns. And now you have this embodied self-awareness. Now you know, I'm triggered. I don't need to be triggered, actually. Yeah, I don't want to react. I want to respond from more creative place. Okay, so next step, you know how to switch to the creative place, right?
And that's also what you call embodied intelligence, or is that something different? I've heard you talking about embodied intelligence. Is that the same, or is that even taking it even further when we say embodied intelligence?
Yes, embodied intelligence is really also understanding and knowing what's happening in the moment beyond what we know cognitively, which means in the body. It's being intelligent about what's going on based on not only my thoughts, but everything else. On my intuition, my sensations, my emotions. Yes, that's exactly embodied intelligence. So it's broader. So it's not the conceptual, I know 2 + 2 is this, I know this happened, that happened, right? Embodied intelligence is also, this happened, he said that when I said that, it's also when he said that, I felt something in my body, and I know this. It comes up when I'm afraid that I'm losing, I don't know, that it's like my security is under question. It might be very old pattern, but it shows up, right? So I know what's really going on in this moment, right?
And maybe what I may say for our listeners is there's nothing wrong if we don't feel, like not start to judge. I think I always say with my clients often at the beginning, yes, it's asking them to feel when they get triggered or situations when they are, to start to listen to their bodies, to start to reconnect to that. And I always say, like, with no judgment, don't judge what actually comes out, because we are also easily, I find often to say, right, we say crying is bad and smiling is good, but in some situations, maybe smiling may not be good, or maybe hiding something else. So the without judgment, I find, is also important to, we all have reaction, we all have triggers, this is all okay. This is about learning how we react and how we are made, so then we can actually control and react differently, and maybe in a way that we wish to react more centered.
Yes, of course, it's about choice. Because if you have this embodied awareness, you are at choice, because you actually know what's going on. You can choose respond differently. And we all are human, we all, like you said, and those reactive tendencies, those reactions are usually very old, so they're very strong muscle in us. So most of them won't disappear, but you can build another muscle, and the more you practice and use the new muscle, the stronger it gets.
Yeah.
Right? Because choice is one. So awareness creates a choice. But you might be a choice, but you might not have capacity yet to respond differently. And to build the capacity, you need to practice. And you need to practice when you don't need this. So it's like being an athlete. You don't practice when there is competition.
No.
That's too late, right?
Yeah.
You practice before. And we forget about this. We forget that actually our behaviors are a certain, like the behaviors become stronger because we practice them every single day. So if you start practicing every single day something different, they will become stronger and easier to act.
Yeah, and you have better access when you actually need to get to it. You've trained, and you can actually use it in the time where this is really required of you. I wonder, in terms of changes, transitions in life, right? When you come to a point where, I don't know, you've built a life, you've done all those things, and things don't resonate anymore, or as you said, people are on autopilot. You just keep doing things, but something is missing. How do you see this showing up again? Maybe from an embodied in people. Like, I guess here also, if we could think something is not right, but there's probably also something happening in our body that, right? It was all right for the last 10 years, maybe, but suddenly, I don't know, we are at a point in life where things, maybe we want to change certain things in our life, and we're not quite sure what they are. So I'm not going to ask how does that show, because I guess everybody shows up in different ways, but maybe how can we start to become aware that there's something that is shifting, or that there's something that is shifting in our life and environment from our embodied self?
How do you know that the old comfort zone is not anymore comfortable?
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Yeah.
I think there is a sense, I think for many people, there is a sense of unease. Like, like on surface, everything looks fine. And many people have on surface fine. They have money, they have family, they have job. I think today many people struggle with their job, but even if they have a job, like, it's okay, it's not bad, so people already consider it good. But you feel unease in you. Like, you feel like there is almost like a ticking bomb in you, right? Something is not being released.
That intangible feeling.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And this is very much embodied, because if you have that, you will get triggered much faster from reasons that people will not understand. If you don't go there and feel it, what's there, if you don't let it out, it will, I can see it will have an impact how you behave. You will be probably more frustrated, angry, like
tired.
Kind of tired, right? Not fulfilled. So there are many different things, but it has kind of this embodied way of showing up. And some people, like as you mentioned, some people are more disconnected, so they push it deeper. Like, it's well protected. Like, some of us build this armor, and no, it doesn't go through me, but actually they also feel it. And they just express it differently, but they also feel it.
So how do you start working with people again, if maybe there are listeners that feel this unease, that intangible sort of something that we never really know? I would say for a lot of people, maybe we go to our brain and we try to explain rationally, try to find, maybe this is the house, maybe this is the relationship, the friendship, the work, the car, whatever that may be, that suddenly we try to replace with either materialistic things also, right? So I guess you have people that come to you with that. Where do you start? Where does the work start? How do we start with that? If someone feels this way, then what is maybe one or two things that they could potentially start to do?
If they're on their own, it's different when you come to a coach, for example, right? Because in coaching, I will lead you more with questions, and but if you are on your own and things are like, you feel like it's, it's not, something is not okay, go and take a time with yourself. Take a time with yourself, whether it's in the nature or I think nature is very good for that. And maybe dance also, put a music on and see if you can simply feel your body. I know it feels like what and why, but see, maybe something will maybe you can let go of this armor. And that happens a lot in the nature, because the nature balances us out, and during listening to the music, dancing, moving your body, but in a conscious way, not like, don't go and run with podcast on, or like being mindful to what's going on in your body, to your body, feeling and sensing, and allowing yourself, like, oh, I'm sad. Okay, let's be sad. Like, people don't allow themselves to feel certain emotions because they label it's bad or it's inappropriate. Lots of people cannot express anger. Allowing yourself to feel there is maybe anger or frustration, or I don't know what that is. Okay, how is it to be in this not knowing? Usually there will be a shift.
Yeah.
And of course, it's helpful to have someone to help you, guide you through that.
Yeah.
But I also believe, like, the moments of reflection for yourself, and really allowing yourself to feel, where do you feel your body? Where do you go numb? I think it's can be very insightful.
Where do you feel your body? Where do you feel numbness? Yeah. Two extremes, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And taking this part, I find it interesting you say taking time for yourself, no podcasts, so not listening to this, no music, just quietness. I think we live in a world with a lot of noise, space where we don't have time, we work, we come home, we have things to do, we're always on the do. And I think what you're saying is to be in the be, but in the conscious be. So not lying on the couch and half asleep, just really...
Not with pack of chips and Netflix, because that's the numbing.
Yeah.
Social media, Netflix, alcohol, drugs, all of that is, like, again, is more and more disconnecting. So you have to take all those layers out. It's hard nowadays. Music sometimes helps for people, or even go and paint if you like. Like, it doesn't matter whether you are good at this or not. It's not about this, or moving your body with the music, but being present to that helps for sure.
Yeah. And maybe we shift a little bit, and I'm just interested, like, at work, leadership at work specifically, maybe, so not life and general, but at work. How do you see potentially performance of leaders? And I speak of leaders maybe in a leadership role, so leading people also in those roles. How do you see performance maybe being impacted by having that embodied intelligence, awareness, and having done this work? Does that have an impact in terms of how people present themselves as leaders, or how does that show up in your experience?
I start from what's going on today in today's world, which is there's a lot of uncertainty. There are big changes that no one knows where to lead us. There is a lot of fear. I sense a lot of fear. I see people losing jobs around me. Also, we are based in Switzerland. Switzerland is impacted also. Those top, like those high-paying jobs. And, people have been there for 20 years in those companies. Suddenly, they're losing the job. They don't know what to do. They are in a position that they might lose their job. they don't know, right? There's a chaos. So when you are a leader and you have to lead through chaos, you have to lead through tension and unknown, and you have people around you that also like, you know, shaking inside of them, you need to be really centered. You need to have this ability to sit in a chaos, sit like in this tornado around you, and be able to be clear what is the next step.
Yeah.
To have the not being pulled by fear or pushed by people in different direction, but be able to be within yourself and know what to ask for. Maybe you don't have the answers, but you see clearly we don't have answers here. You see clearly here people talking about this, but it comes from fear. Here there is actually a vision. Let's follow the vision. And many people don't have that because they trigger themselves. And so, you know, if you are like everyone is triggered, you as a leader, you are triggered. Nothing holds. So one, right? And I talk about this embodied presence. And then presence is this ability to extend your energy so others feel you. They feel your energy, and through that energy you convey some message. So if you are centered, you have the tools, you know how to go back to your center, to be connected with your vision, maybe purpose, who you are, why you are, and you're regulated, you convey very different message. People feel it. They know, okay, we can trust him, her, and they will listen to you. Yeah. Even if you say, I don't know, but let's bring us together and let's do it together, right? You also, as a leader, what happens in leadership roles a lot, you have to choose what to do. There are conflicts. There are conflicts of interest, and you need to be okay with be in a conflict or a tension again. If you don't have capacity to be okay with that some people won't like your decision, again, you will go to this pleasing mode or fighting or, you know, fleeing. But if you're rooted and you know why you're taking those decisions, it's really helpful.
Right. Yeah.
People feel it. They might not like your decision, but they will respect you for you taking the stand, right? And you want to be with someone that takes a stand.
Yeah.
Also, again, if you're in a leadership position, what's important is to be able to connect to people. To connect to people in a way that when you try to take them on some journey or build something, you speak in a way that kind of includes everyone. And that can only be done when you are connected with yourself, when you're regulated, and you have the ability to kind of bring everyone in that message. Because when you are dysregulated, like when you're, you know, in your automatic state, whichever that state is, you can have a lot of power given you by your role, but you might not be seeing who else you need to bring on board. Because you know, you might have this authoritarian kind of power, but if people don't trust you, don't believe you, you know, if you don't include them in your vision in some ways, they won't support you. They will do the minimum they have to, but they don't do the extra step.
Yeah.
Right?
I like it's like someone walks in a room and you feel their presence, right? Sometimes at work or in places, someone walks in and they feel the room just by walking in. And maybe other people, they bring less attention. So that's what you mean when you have that embodied intelligence, then you become that person that suddenly fills the room and people will listen to and follow and actually bring. I also hear what you said is a lot of being self-centered, I guess. When you're on autopilot, you just look at yourself and how do you bring people along when you're just looking at yourself? You can't really bring people with you because you're just centered on you versus being centered on the others, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And there's a wisdom in, you know, there is collective wisdom that you can tap into. And still, as a leader, you have to take decisions sometimes, unpopular decisions. How do you take unpopular decision? You stay and you still, stay centered, right? This is something very skilled.
Yeah.
You also need to be good with having attention on you, especially when you get, the higher you go, the more attention is on you. What you do, how you say things, some people are not able to do that because they don't know where their attention is. They're not even aware of such a thing.
Yeah,
right?
Really interesting, really interesting. I like how you say, like, standing up in a room and people watching you being watched as a leader. I've been there, I've been a leader, and I know that, well, a team looks at you, but you also are put in positions where you need to, I'm not going to say act, but you have to be, and you have to be present. So the work you do with the people you work with, embodied leadership, embodied intelligence, what are really the benefits of that embodied leadership we're just talking about here?
So the one thing you mentioned, and I said that a little bit also, like being centered, right? Being able to switch from your reactive to creative mode. It's huge.
So maybe for our listeners, can you extend a little bit, what is being centered?
Being centered, I use word centered, and that comes from Strozzi Institute, which was a somatic coaching institute, like probably the first one teaching coaching in a somatic way, including the body. And they talk about those three dimensions, like length, width, so how narrow or wide you are, how tall and you are, and depth, right? And when you find the center of your body, which is usually below the navel, and in many traditions, Japanese yoga tradition, and there is the center of our body, and that's the center that is very often named that there. How do you know you are acting from your intuition, for example, is because that's where the weight is, like not in your head. Some people are very heavy in their head. They usually are not very centered, because the weight of our body actually should be a little bit lower, below our navel, below our belly button. And that's when you are there, and you are neither too big, too wide, which means too much taking space, or too narrow, which means not taking space. You're standing in your dignity, so you're not like too tall and looking at everyone from top, but you're also not shrinking back, like you're in your center with that. And also you're not to the back or front, because front is like action, back is like not taking any action. You're in the center, you're centered, like you're aligned. And from that place, you kind of physically align, but also this gives a signal to your body that you're safe. Usually. You're
safe. That's a big word to say.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's that balance.
Feeling of safety is in the body, not in the head. It's and also not in your bank account. I know many people think so, but I know many people with big bank accounts and they don't have it. But it's in your body. So when you're centered, when you're there, like you regulate, like you're the state of regulation. That's also the state where you can enter a flow state, where everything just flows, like zone sometimes. And this is a place of creativity, pure creativity, new ideas. Like, some people even talk about time expanding, like it's very different state. And in that state, it's just like everything flows, right? So being centered, for example, and being able to enter the flow state or the zone as in sports, right? Secondly, when you are resilience, right? Resilience means bouncing back to your regulated state. Resilience doesn't mean push through. I know many people think I'm resilient, so I push through, I made it through, I fight it. That's pushing through. That's not resilience. Resilience is meaning I'm dysregulated or whatever. I'm in my reactive mode. I have the capacity to go back to my creative. That's resilient. That's resilience. Sorry. So that's, for example, it's big, because if you can do that, again, you can be connected to others, you have connection to your inner resources, you see the vision and so on, right? Also, when you have this embodied intelligence or embodied self-awareness, you are being informed by the situation. You're not being lost in a situation. You're not like, this person said that and then said that and then you know what's happening also. So you also feel how you impact the situation, because we also impact the situation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? And many people don't see that because they're in, but they cannot see it. They are not informed by the situation. They're not informed about what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? It's easier to get from a conflict, as I mentioned, like there are, to resolution. Because if you are able to switch, and if you to your more creative, regulated state, you are solution oriented. You can empathize with people. You can, like I said, see their perspective, put them into the vision, even if they are not centered or reactive. You can still name it without being triggered. What's going on, for example, that's a big thing. Naming what is going on without accusing people or making yourself a victim of what's going on. Most people have very hard time to name that. Also, well-being and satisfaction of your life, and just fulfillment in life, that comes when you can actually use your body to nourish yourself. And the creativity that comes with being in this more centered state, intuition that you can use and trust, and in that, with that all, you are able to build relationships, stronger relationships.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And when you're more in your body and you're regulated, you have very strong presence. People notice you. And through that presence, that's kind of next step, but you can also create the impact you want. Because we have more than just one quality in us. Sometimes you want people to listen to you. Sometimes you want them to share they envision something. Like, you can also have an impact through your presence. We all impact the space, so to speak.
That's really interesting what you say. There's a lot of benefits I see in being centered, in having that embodied intelligence about our own self and our own body in a very simple way. Maybe one question that comes to mind is can we all be like that, or this is something like, are we born with this? Is this something we learn? Is this something we acquire? Like, how do we come to this?
Yeah, very good question. I think let's start with that around 95% of our time, every day, we act from our subconscious mind. So we don't take decisions. We think we take, but we don't. So there is a program running in the background in each of us. And that's exactly those reactive tendencies, the reactive responses. And some of those responses, they're supporting us in having the life we want. And some are not, right? Maybe fighting or fleeing, or, some are not right. Maybe they were good for us when we were younger, but not anymore. So the thing is about really know your program. And if this is not in the benefit, it doesn't work for you, see what do you want to change there. And it's possible. And so it's possible, and you won't be able to be, we are not able to be conscious, like I said, because it's a lot of energy for our brain. But within those 5% of the time, let's be very conscious, right? Where we are conscious, that's where we can choose. But this 95% of time, make sure the program is the program you want to have to run your life.
Yeah. Very powerful, Anna, what you say. And maybe, so maybe what I hear is we can all have embodied intelligence and embodied power in a way. Mm-hmm. We just have maybe to learn new ways of being, and that mm-hmm. all starts first with an awareness beyond our head. And maybe for a lot of us, that might be rediscovering what happens in our body when we do certain things, when certain things happen in our environment, and how we react to it, to then be able to build new ways of reacting and new ways of being in that. So I think that's really the underlying message that I hear is we can all do it, and we can all learn it if we don't do it already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I would add here, that is our body is our social and emotional sense organ, which means this is our organ of perception, perceiving the world, and expression. This is like the working antenna 24/7. So our body perceives the world as through the whole history of your being. Like my body perceives the world in a very different way than your body perceives the world, because of your history, upbringing, and personality, and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Even though we look at the same situation, for example. So bear this in mind, that the body scans the environment all the time, scans what's happening within you when this happens outside, and send messages to your brain. So all of us have the antenna. If you use it, the antenna is up to you. I'm sure there are, like they say, there will be a small percentage of people that maybe, like some parts of the brain, the emotional part is not really working. Those are usually named psychopaths, but the rest of us, we just don't use this information. We just disconnected from that. But the antenna is here. The antenna is collecting. And also through this antenna we express. So I express something that your body perceives. And there is a conversation between our bodies that we don't even know. And only then it comes to our brain, those informations.
I love the antenna metaphor that you just give us. I think it's a great way to maybe leave that with our listeners. We all have the antenna, and we can choose to have it fully activated to receive and give in the best way we can, and in the best expression that we as human beings are. We can just continue to live the way we want, and that's also okay. Not everybody has to do that work, but I love that. Everybody, we can learn it, we can do it. It requires a bit of work, it requires some effort, yes, to maybe learn new ways of being. But in the end, we can learn our body. And I really love what you say is there is so much wisdom in our body. There is so much things that happens in our body that, yes, we have maybe lost. So thank you to our listeners for joining us for this episode on embodied leadership and intelligence with Anna Sumara. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Laurent, for inviting me, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I certainly did. I really enjoyed our conversation.
I did as well. I learned a lot about that, and I hope our listeners as well did learn something and could take away something with them. So thank you for listening, and we hope to see you for another episode very soon. Thank you.